Hey, what's up? I'm Angie. This is New Path Tarot. We're going to do a pick a card reading. I'm going to show you the backs of 3 different decks, and you are going to choose the deck that you feel the most drawn to. But I am going to read from all 3 of them, so it kind of doesn't matter. But what you're trying to do is determine which of the reading piles is going to be best for you. So this is the first deck. So see how you feel about the energy of this card, if it can offer you anything valuable for what you need to know right now. Okay, here's the second one. You get anything from this one? You feel drawn to it or pulled to it at all, or does it not really speak to you? And here's the third one. Okay, same thing. And maybe none of them, or maybe more than one. Never know. Okay, so 1, purple is 2, the sky and water is 3. Okay, your choice. Start somewhere. The timestamps are in the description and the comments, so you can skip to it. And if you're pile 1, then just stay here. Okay, let me figure out what deck I want to start with. Let's start with, this is the Sacred Traveler Oracle cards. So let's see what we have. Pile 1 people. Waiting for anything to kind of stick out and jump out. There we go. Well, that's funny because this is the literal card that I held up. So if you picked this pile, you might have felt a strong connection to, well, I'm trying to think, because this was the second one I held up, but this is the exact card that I held up. That's what I'm trying to say. However it correlates to you. The card is Fogged In, Go Slow, Take Time. So I'm going to be pulling more than just this card, but I wanted to emphasize this one considering it's the literal one I held up. Okay? Because I am getting more from it than the actual message. I see the picture on it and there's stuff that I'm getting about it, so, but I'm going to wait to get more context with other cards too. Okay, answering the call, the time is now. So go slow, take time, and the time is now. Pretty contradictory, right? Fogged in and then answering the call. So that could, there's a lot of ways that could end up being the case. Same kind of messages that I was already getting from just the first card. Okay, Desert Passage. Trust there is a divine plan. Cool. Do I want to do another one of these? One more. Let's do one more of these. Voyage of the Heart. Love flows through you and to you. I said one more, but I got other ones talking to me. No, not that one, just another. Breaking Trail. A breakthrough is at hand. Okay, so I am going to move that one to the third because that's the order I'm getting. I'm getting Go Slow, Take Time, then the time is now, then a breakthrough is at hand. So I'll start with that. Okay, so here's what I'm getting about Fogged In. It feels past. If it is present, it's about to not be. The Go Slow, Take Time thing, I feel like that is what was happening. Now, for some of you, this might be talking about you specifically, or it could be talking about somebody that you have in your mind that you're wanting to get more insight about. I think that might be kind of more likely. If you're the one who's been kind of doing the spiritual work, and you, the only the only other option is you're the one doing the spiritual work and you've been blocked, and then finally that block is released and then you are able to proceed. But other hand, it could be the other person that you are connected to, that you have on your mind, whereas they have been stagnant, no progress. Is it ever going to happen? That kind of thing comes to mind. And if it hasn't yet, it feels like it's near future. The time is now, and a breakthrough is at hand. They're tied together. So the reason why I have the breakthrough after the time is now is because the breakthrough feels like something's going to happen after things shift. Like it's sometimes you would think it would be the breakthrough causes the time to be now, but in this instance it's more like once the floodgates open, then real progress happens. Here's the next one. Trust there is a divine plan. Okay, so look back on everything so far. Think about the idea of everything happening for a reason. Think about how it's better this way. Like, had it been the other way, could it have happened? Could it have worked? Sure. Might have been a struggle, might have been complications. But now, though it might not be the easiest road, because with breaking trail, to me, I feel like the ground still has to be broken. Not the ground, but the path still has to be paved. Because what I'm getting is like, this feels to me like, let's say you had a person who chose to be with somebody else instead of you, or chose to not be with you in general. That was easier for them than doing the work of what would have been required to have made it work with you. Because of that, if, let's say, it were to happen in the future, it still has to be paved, but due to the whole, divine plan thing, it's easier this way. It's, and the desert isn't necessarily the best environment. It's hot. There's direct sun. You got to carry with you what you have. You don't know how long the journey is going to take. There's like a lot of variables. You don't know what you might be exposed to that will affect things, there's all that. But the good news is, with the desert, you can see way ahead. And I feel like that's kind of the case, is like, first, you got to break through all the barriers. But once you do, it feels like this is this. You break through, and then there's like this big clearing ahead. The desert, though, means it's not gonna be without any kind of I don't know, it's restriction, but things are gonna have to be figured out, no doubt. But it's manageable, it's doable, it's worth it, all that. Okay? Now, if you're on the waiting end of that, it's out of your hands, it's out of your control. Well, here's where this card comes in. Okay, this card speaks to me about how it's like what you have been doing so far, what you have to offer. The love flows through you and to you. It feels like you've been that love vibration, or at least you've been working on it. And it exudes from you. It's like infectious. It's noticeable. It's like it feels like your energy is like glowing in the dark, because it's, I don't know how to explain how, I don't know. I think you get what I mean though. It's unmistakable. One kind of side message I'm getting is that that might have drawn some negativity to you that you've had to deal with. It's like people wanted to bring you down because it made them, say, feel uncomfortable, but it's like it triggered them. No, I don't know. It's just weird. I honestly, it's hard for me to describe that kind of thing because I don't identify with it, so I don't know like how to explain how somebody else thinks when they have that kind of mentality. But yeah, let me see what else I get. Okay, so advice for you if you're in that position is with the go slow take time is don't change anything about your mentality. Definitely don't change anything about your energy in that being that authentic way, but also don't let the thoughts change, like, oh, something's gonna happen or whatever. In fact, pay attention to your dreams because you'll be getting messages in them, and I would really be interested to know what kind of answers to your questions are you getting, because you might want to be asking specific questions to be answered and say, all right, I really want to know about this. And then you may not get a dream that night, but be on the lookout for it and ask multiple questions and be, what would it be like, open-minded, or think outside the box as to how the answers might come to you. Especially sometimes your dream characters show up as other people, so the person that you have in your mind isn't the person in your dream, it's somebody else. So you're not dreaming about the other person, you're dreaming about the person that you have in mind, but it's not them in the dream. So just take note of that too. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna get more cards. So these cards are the, make sure I have it right. Yeah, the Sacred Destiny Oracle, same author. Power. Success. Gotta have more than that. Okay. Openness. Heavy moon energies right now because we're in the middle of some eclipses if you're watching in the current time. And there's a big full moon on that openness card. Potential. All these cards are Knight so far. I mean, all of these seem dark skies anyway, so I guess it's not too significant. It's all in context of what the other ones are. One more or no? Yeah, okay. Voyage. And I'll just throw it. I feel it is. There were two stuck together, but whatever. Abundance. That to me feels like it goes with success, so I'll just line that up. Okay. Voyage and this fogged in card feel connected because this one feels like a voyage, right? So this is weird. Like, look, it's a whale with another whale suspended to it. It's in the sky. What the heck is going on here? Okay. And then we have this voyage. So let me think about that for a second. And then we have success, abundance. Obviously, the success is going to be a precursor for the abundance. I do feel like this carries on. Like, this is as a result of what I said previously. You might be already having success on your own accord, which is great. Keep the momentum going, keep with it. But there is potential of things evolving, and be open to that being the case. If you've been wanting to move locations, I do feel like you're going to have that opportunity, and you might be like, well, I can't because of this or that. I think some walls are going to come down for you. Oh, hey, check that out. Voyage of the Heart and Voyage. So I was like, why is voyage sticking out to me so much, like the word of it? But yeah, let's say you've been wanting to, and you have in your mind to at a certain point. It's going to be like you're going to have the opportunity way sooner than you were expecting, and it's going to be awesome. Because say if that were the case, and for me, I have a certain amount of years before I am able to do the relocation that I have in mind due to factors in my life. So that it's strange, because like when you have like X amount of years down the line when you know you're going to do something, it definitely shapes the decisions you make leading up to it. Keep it in mind, like if it were going to happen sooner, what would you change as a result? And I don't even mean that as far as moving, because that might not apply to everybody. I mean it in context of what it is, your thing that you have. Like, if that were to happen down the line, what would I change now? In order to make it so I don't have any complications in the future that would keep me from being able to do this thing. Okay. But it's like with the success card and all this other stuff, it's like dream big. What would you do if you could? What's your ideal? And what is it? You got to get clear on what it is you do want to do, because there's power behind that. You know, you don't want to just be like whatever in tree in the wind. You want to be like making decisions based on your I guess you'd say what it is you're wanting to create in the future. Let's say you're younger, you know, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, or you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, and you want to basically, you have a dream. You like, you have something you want to do in the world, and it's down the line. It's not something you can do yet. Well, I feel like you need to make it more of a priority than put it on the back burner. You need to work toward it more. You need to try to make it into a reality, as opposed to I'll do this later when I'm older, or when I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things that you could be telling yourself as to why you're waiting on it. And if you watch any of my other videos where I'm saying the same kind of message and it's like you're hearing it again, then that's extra confirmation. So I feel like you need to also be in communication with other people who are like-minded, not in general, but in your big picture thing that you want to do. Let's say this. What is it that you here, and I'll bring this one back out. Answering the call, the time is now. That's basically, I mean, I wasn't even making the connection. That's basically what I was just saying. Not waiting. And answering the call is, you came here, whether it be subconscious or conscious, with a thing that you wanted to accomplish on a big scale. Everybody, I wouldn't say everybody, but most people watching are going to fit in that category and that criteria. The thing is you don't have to do it all on your own. You got to find all the different puzzle pieces so that they can fit together. You might have somebody who's like really good at bookkeeping, for example, and they do it in their daily life, but eventually they want to be doing something that is aligned with a bigger picture, and they might not have the bigger picture part of it, but if they were to do the books of the bigger picture thing, they would then be fulfilling what they're supposed to be doing and feeling fulfilled as a result. If you don't feel fulfilled, that means if you don't feel fulfilled, you're not fulfilling your calling. Now, when you do get on that path, I feel like some of you might not know what it is, so you do need to break through that. But when you do get on that path and it opens up for you, then that's where that whole success and abundance come from. It's going to be like you're in a state of flow to the max. Okay, so now I'm going to get tarot cards out. So, if you are somebody who is like, I don't know what it is that I would do, if you don't have it, like this inner drive of what it is that you would do, you probably are not the big picture visionary. You're a part of it. You can't have everybody be the big picture visionary who knows, like, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it, but you need people to assist with it. Well, you might be one of the assists, which is fine. It's noble. You are designed, I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but you are designed to be the way you are because you're unique in how you would contribute to things in your own little specific way of what you have to offer. Your personality, your whatever you've experienced so far, especially anything you've overcome. Did I already say what experiences you've had? You know what I mean? Like everything that up till now has led you up to the point where where did it go? That there's a divine plan to you existing and you being the exact way you are as a soul. Independent, it's not necessarily like who you are as the ego persona that you have of this is who I am. but more who that internal drive of you is. Who is that? Okay. So, I guess where I was going with that is, if you want to know like where you fit in and all that, you can get a reading with me and we can figure it out. But there's a whole lot of factors to consider, which is, where are you now? Where are you going? Where are you trying to end up? Where have you been? You know, all those things play into it. Okay. Daily life stuff is coming up. That always happens when I switch to tarot. You know, Oracle, big picture, spiritual stuff. Tarot is like, okay, everyday life, practical. Let's talk about the logistics here. And that's what's up. So it's like, okay, daily life stuff. What do we got to do to make this happen? What needs to be lined up to get you so that you're doing what you got to be doing for your own fulfillment? Okay. First of all, you got to hear the calling. High Priestess is coming up reversed. So that means a disconnect with your inner being. Got to switch that. This would imply to me that you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing. Flip side is, you do know what you're supposed to be doing. High Priestess being reversed, meaning maybe you don't know how to proceed. Okay. Some of you might have a big picture and you need an investor, or you need to just figure out how you're going to fund what it is that your big picture is. And then again, I say daily life, so you might be wanting to do something that requires some income to come in. That's funny. So yeah, what else do we have here? You need in order to get these answers, you need to do some introspection, some digging internally, some deep thought, not being on autopilot and just like another day has passed. It's like the time for all that is over. Once you become awakened, the key then is to stay awakened, grounded, but yet awakened. And so finding the balance between managing daily life and human stuff, but also continuing to propel forward with all the things that I had already talked about. I'm also seeing here a need to go back and revisit some internal digging of unresolved conflict that you had either with yourself or with another. Something is unresolved, keeping you back from being able to. You can't move forward without clearing up the past, I guess. I feel the image I'm getting is like a bridge. And you're halfway across the bridge. But behind you, somebody's sawing away at it. That's kind of how it feels. I don't know what that means exactly. It's symbolic. But it's like you can't go back to the way things were because there's somebody there blocking it. It's weird. But it's almost like you have to run across the bridge really quick, or else you're going to be... Or it's like you have to go back and deal with that person and get them to stop sawing at it. I don't know. But anyways, however you process that. If you're having dreams that have to do with water, you might be needing to process some emotions. You might be needing to purge something. And if you are not able to trigger it on your own, you might have to force a trigger of emotional release, aka make yourself cry, unless you're somebody who cries all the time. Then I would say give yourself permission to not beat yourself up over it. Like say you need a day to just like lay in bed and just not like be a part of the world. If you're able to do that, then don't be like halfway through the day, oh my god, I'm so lazy, I should be doing something, and beating yourself up about it. Like, you need to integrate sometimes. You need to give yourself purposeful, forceful rest when you're feeling really tired and you're just like, I'm really depleted. I have to recharge or else I'm running on fumes. Okay, well, that's what I'm getting for you guys as a collective of pile 1. I could probably dig in if it was individual, but I don't want to branch off into a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to move on to pile 2. If you picked pile 2 also, then stick around. Okay, pile 2. Uncovering treasure. Beneath the surface lies great bounty. Vast vistas. Expand your horizons. I feel like you can't find the treasure unless you do expand your horizons. Distant thunder. Clear the air. That's a specific message. Clear the air. To me, that feels like don't just run away without dealing with whatever is like running away from a situation isn't going to help. Instead, you got to deal with it first. It's like not saying don't go, but first make sure you've cleared the air. Crossing bridges. It is time for healing, connecting, mending, and releasing. This is like repeat messages that I got from the last. Mystic healer. Healing energy flows through you. Another kind of repeat message in that there was like a card about love flowing through you kind of thing. But I'm not going to give the same messages for 1 and 2. I'm basically just saying there was some crossover so that if you did pick 1 and 2, it's like you're here, take the messages twice as powerful. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, so you guys in this pile, you're probably empaths. You probably absorb other people's energy, which you usually are the one who's more optimistic and like uplifting for others, but it drains you. So you're always like give, and but when it's time for you to need it, where is everybody? So then you need to reevaluate your contacts, your people that you're always giving, honestly evaluate, are they giving back? Here's an example. If you have a friend who always talks your ear off, but they don't listen, like anytime you're talking, they just like, you can tell they're just thinking about what they're going to say next, or like they're just not, I don't know, it's like a one-sided friendship is kind of what I'm getting. Honestly, like, do you really need that? Like, we're thinking quality over quantity here. We're thinking who is an equal energy exchange, not I'm always giving. Because when are you ever the one who just receives? Like, let's say you go to a therapist and you sit there and you're talking to the therapist, you're thinking, I don't want to inconvenience this person with my life story. Like, they don't want to hear my problems. Even though it's their job, they have a degree, it's what they get paid to do. You are thinking about them when you're the one who needs to be there for you. That's the kind of person you are. Because you're always thinking about everybody else. But you need to put it out there for yourself that you need to have good connections that are mutual. You need to have where you're feeling like there's an equal give and take. If you're doing everything, then you're going to start having resentment, especially if it's somebody that you're in a relationship with. But truth be told, did you set it up that way? Like, it's that mentality of, if I want something done right, I got to do it myself, instead of being like, no, you need to step it up, because it doesn't do you good to have to do everything yourself. Also, if there is an imbalance where somebody is doing everything of something, let me give an example, okay? Let's say in a relationship, and it doesn't have to be a significant other. This could be anybody that you, most likely that you live with, though. So it could be a family member. So let's say you are, oh my God, where'd the example go? You're always the one who does the dishes. And so the other person only will do them if you say, can you please do the dishes? I'm like always doing the dishes. It'd be really nice if you could do the dishes every now and then. So then they're like, yeah, fine. But the fact that you have to ask them is the problem. So you have to communicate that part instead of having resentment. You have to be like, I don't want to have to ask you. I want you to look at the sink and go, wow, the dishes need to be done. And I want you to do them. I don't want to have to be your mommy and tell you to do the dishes. I want you to do them. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. I see this a lot with people who have roommates. They like their guy roommates, especially, usually guys are just terrible about dishes. They'll like let them pile up until there's literally no clean dishes, and then they'll be like, what's the one comedian said? He's like eating cereal with a spatula off a plate. But it's true. Take that and connect it to whatever your situation is that you are feeling an imbalance with. You might be a healer, but when's the last time that you have received any kind of healing? You might be a massage therapist, but when do you ever get a massage? So make the effort. Call people on when they're just taking. So like, let's say you have a friend who, like, I know somebody who was like, I said I'd give them a massage if they cleaned my car. I gave them the massage and they never cleaned my car. I was like, I'd be like, you said you're gonna clean my car. Go clean my car. She was just really nice. She's a nice person. I think some of you guys are just really nice. But you gotta stand up for yourself. You're a group that needs to make sure that you're having boundaries, that you're not letting people push you around and walk over you, and standing up for yourself, and all those sorts of fun things. Okay, what else do we have? New beginnings. And this could be as simple as it's what I was just saying. A new beginning of how you are about things. Solitude. So this is what you need to do when you're spending time with people. Have you ever done this? If you want to, you can be really like conversational, social, you have the ability to, like, you're having a conversation with somebody and you keep it from being awkward. Like, you keep it going. You know how to, like, I don't know. I'm getting that you're like that. But on the other hand, have you ever been like, I literally don't want to talk to this person, so I'm purposely going to go out of my way to be not saying anything. And if they say anything to me, I'm just going to be really short with my answers, which is, you could like, it's almost like you're making it awkward with intention, because you just have no desire to be having a conversation with this person, because you'd rather preserve your energy. It's like, it's not worth your breath to have a conversation with this person, because there's no depth to their thinking. It's going to be a superficial conversation. You're not going to get anything out of it. You don't have anything to tell them. Like, you don't have anything to talk about, you don't have anything in common, like, whatever. I'm not going to go out of my way to make a conversation with this person when, where's it going to go? What's it going to do at the end of the day? Like, I wouldn't even remember that conversation anyway, because nothing gets said, that kind of thing. Wisdom. There's a wisdom with speaking, It's like the time to know when to speak. Going forward. And taking risks. So you have a lot of big cards that just came out with new beginnings, going forward, taking risks. Easy, right? It's like, go forward to begin new beginnings that are risky. Don't play it safe. Nope. You know why? Because you in the future regret the risks you didn't take. You look back on it and you're like, wow, I thought that was so important, but in hindsight, I should have just done it, or something like that. Pile 1 felt kind of like it could have been, like, it was like a mix of, I was talking to them, but I was also maybe talking about someone else. It was kind of like both. Yours, I don't feel like I'm talking about anybody else. This is like what you need to do. This is all about you, because you're so much usually about everybody else that you need to turn it around and make it all about you for once. You need to put yourself first. Going forward, put yourself first. Okay, the solitude is necessary. You need to, like, pencil in some time to go in the woods and Just be you. Who are you at your core without any conditioning? Pretend you don't have your life circumstances. Like, you don't have your obligations and your responsibilities. You're just you. What, what would you do if you started new, the new beginning? Because, and don't think small. Think big about it. I feel like I gotta tell you this. Just because you think something doesn't mean that I don't know, that's not the right wording. Dream big because it's like you need permission to. You're allowed to imagine things that will never happen. You're allowed to think about what is the most craziest version of what's the most extreme choices you can make, like right now, without considering any restrictions and responsibilities and everything. Like, just literally pretend all of that vanishes and that you can think, what would I do right now if I just got amnesia all of a sudden and I didn't remember who I was, and I could start over from here? Where would I go? What would I do? Because I feel like, let's say you're getting out of a relationship, you need to take some time to yourself to re-find yourself, reconnect and that sort of thing. You might not need to take long, but you need a reset for that. But then I think you need to, like, give yourself a second chance in life if you've so far been playing it safe. You need to choose to make decisions that really ignite you instead of playing safe again. Start something completely new. Move across the world. You don't know anybody. You just sell all your stuff. This is assuming you don't have anything tying you down. You know what I mean? There's a difference between dreaming about it, by all means. When it comes to actually enforcing it, take risks that are literal options and not doing other people harm. I don't know if that makes sense. If there's other people to consider, then obviously you have to do so. But that doesn't mean you can't go, like, take a vacation or something, because you still need to do that whole solitude thing. And I feel like you need to do it by getting out of your environment. You can't, like, go in your room and close the door and that be your solitude. You gotta, like, literally go somewhere, even if it's just a day trip, to clear your head. And I've said things like this before in other readings, so if you happen to watch another reading where I say this, then extra confirmation. Okay, so now I'm gonna do tarot. Some of you guys, I'm getting a side message of you have a restriction due to your physical health. Like, it's keeping you where you're at, or it's keeping you from being able to travel, or something like that. I don't think that's going to apply to all of you, but wait, are these the ones I just picked? No, okay. But let's say you have a restriction in general. It doesn't mean don't do it. It just means figure it out. Another version of that could be you might be a caregiver and you can't do something for yourself because you are responsible for somebody else's health. You need to take a break and get somebody to, you're the only one involved, you're the only one doing everything. Why can't somebody else do it? You gotta find a way to be able to take a break from it. Okay, so we have freedom, relaxation, embracing, flexibility, and inner peace. Freedom definitely goes along with what I was just saying. If you have something that keeps you from being, you're like, yeah, I can't go anywhere because I'm bound to this situation. Relaxation. It reminds me of somebody who's like a single parent and they never can get a break because they're always the one who's doing everything. But you know, if you were getting a reading with me one-on-one, I'd be like, okay, we can look at this and figure out ways to brainstorm and figure out how to get you to be able to have your relaxation, embracing, to be able to get your solitude, inner peace, and flexibility. I think some of you guys in this group, you have cards, like oracle cards and stuff, that you probably should be pulling out and using more often than you do. Like, they're just like sitting on a shelf, and you're like, yeah, I know, I need to, I think about it, but you just don't. Or you might need to get a deck and actually use it. And the best way to do that, the best way to start, is to pull a card a day, have a little journal, read what the book says, but write down how it pertains to your life. So let's say, for example, flexibility. This is a great card to use as an example. Okay, flexibility. Well, you and I both know what the context of flexibility means in this oracle card. It's talking about be flexible in life and that sort of thing. But what if you were to, relate it to your life, and flexibility to you means literal physical flexibility, like you're like, oh yeah, I need to be putting my physical fitness as a priority. You know what I mean? That's how you would say, that's how you could make it your own. Okay. Freedom, relaxation, embracing, inner peace, and flexibility. Strangely, I'm not getting a whole bunch when I look at these cards. It's like I think I need to do more tarot. I'm like being urged to switch to tarot. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow that hunch. I'm going to put these to the side. Okay. So pile 2. What are the cards that can most accurately help those who are watching this pile? I feel like I'm getting side messages, so I'll just say them, and if they apply, then they do, and if they don't, it's because they're like random. Some of you guys might be thinking about going back to school, learning a new trade, needing more training about something, thinking about it, but I'm not getting anything about it as far as like, should you or anything, because it depends on your situation. I'm not getting a way forward. Okay, what else do you guys have going on? Some of you guys are not spending your free time wisely. Let me give you an example. Somebody who has card decks, knows how to meditate, knows how to do spiritual stuff. She's like, I'm like, what do you do in your spare time? Are you doing this? She's like, no, I just play Xbox all the time. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, so how moderation, okay? I'm not saying never play Xbox, but I'm just saying like you got to do other things. I mean, come on. If you're not working on progressing spiritually, you're probably not watching this, but on the other hand, you'd be surprised because we all have our own little things that maybe we know better, but we do anyway. Some of you guys that might relate to health things, like, but I mean, one part is don't beat yourself up over it because it never does any good. I'm always having to tell people to stop beating themselves up over stuff. But you can make better choices, though. Like, for your group, like I'm getting that your spare time could be spent wisely, more wisely, maybe. You're like, what spare time? You're the kind of group that I feel needs to reallocate the hours in your day. You have time, you just need to maybe stop scrolling on Facebook could be an option, like multitasking something can happen. You can be like there's a lot of different ways that you can incorporate positive things into your routine on a daily basis that maybe you just haven't thought of so far. Okay. I'll tell some of you, like I said, this is like these things I'm going to say might not apply to everybody, but if some of you guys have a feeling like somebody is not being honest with you about something, like you might know what it is, you might not, but if you're feeling anxiety about a particular person and you have a hunch about if there's something going on about it, I'm gonna say if that specific thing applies to you, that there is something going on. That person is not gonna fess up to you and tell you, even if you ask. They're in denial. If a question you're wondering is, should I trust this person? Unfortunately, I'm saying no. At least not right now. I'm just getting the right now message, okay? You need to detach yourself from this person's energy. You need to detach yourself from the drama of whatever's going on between you and them. Let's say it's a relationship, So say you're still living in the same home, but you're having problems and you're wanting them to come clean about something or be more forthcoming or communicate more clearly with you or blah, blah, blah. Well, honestly, you cannot change that other person no matter what you say or do. And you need to plan accordingly. And you need to put yourself first because they're not putting you first. They're putting themselves first. They're their own number one and number 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6 too. And you are somewhere like number 98. And maybe that applies to you on a minor scale. It's not a personal reading, so I don't know. Okay. Well, that's all I'm getting for your group. As always, if you'd like a personal reading, reach out to me. I'm around. I do this for a living. So, okay. So if you picked 3 as well, stick around. We're going to jump to 3. Yeah. All right, pile 3 people. Let's get started. Let's see what we have for you. Navigating by the stars, follow your bliss. First light, beginning a new cycle. So the thing about navigating by the stars, the thing that comes to me is how back in the day people relied on the sky for navigation, and that's like a lost thing now. I mean, we know about the North Star, but for the most part we use GPS. We're reliant on technology. We have forgotten the old ways. And notice it says follow your bliss. So this implies to me that nobody's going to be able to tell you what your bliss is. You have to figure it out the old ways, the forgotten ways, the ways that nobody is going to talk about because they aren't in touch with their inner knowing. So you got to find somebody who's in touch with their inner knowing to get a reading from. You have a particular thing that is unique to you, that some answers would do you good, some context, some understanding by somebody who gets it on that level, and you say, all right, this is my deal. And they go, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. Which nobody else would get it. So, like, it's like everybody else you would connect to is colorblind, and this person sees in color. And how are you going to find that person? Follow your bliss, navigate by the stars, because you have this inner knowing that is totally next level. Nobody can compete with this. You just know things. So you don't, I'm not going to say you don't, but you don't need to feel something. You don't need to hear some kind of mystic voices or anything, you just know shit. Valiant courage. Take action with passion. Maybe that's some advice for you, though, is that, you know it, but does that mean that you trust it or understand it? That's the thing I'm kind of getting, is you might need to have some external validation so that it gives you a boost in your knowingness and your understanding of the old ways and your inner self. Okay, transformation. A fresh new way of living emerges. Yeah, because once you get that, you're going to definitely be living totally different. It's almost like the blinders are off, and it's almost like, how did I forget this? How did I operate before? How did I even operate before this? It was like it's like pre-awakening. Not to say you're not awakened, but this is like a whole new level of understanding, and you just need a boost. And it might not come from another person. It could come from a book that you find, whatever. Unknown territory. You are exactly where you need to be. Yeah, that was great up until now, but it's not going to stay that way. You're not, where you are now is not exactly where you're supposed to be in the very near future. You're fine right now, but that's got to change. You got to have this new, fresh way. You have to begin a new cycle. You have to follow your bliss. When you follow your bliss, that means you're moving. You're not stopped. You're going. And you have to take action with passion. You understand these are all moving cards. None of them say anything. It's, in fact, unknown territory is exactly what I'm saying. And first light means go ASAP. And you need to have your courage, I don't know with transformation if it means you need the transformation to do so, or if you're going to have your transformation by doing this, I feel more kind of like that. Like transformation is going to happen on route. Just make sure I don't have any readings. Okay. Narrow pathway. Tread thoughtfully. I don't know why I picked another card, but since I did, because I was distracted, I'm going with it. Narrow pathway, tread thoughtfully. Okay, I'll put that up to the side. So yeah, I already talked about these cards, but let's see what else I get from them. Valiant Courage is just screaming to me about the being the Knight of Wands. It's like in the tarot, it's like you need to actually go do something. And because it's so strongly relating to the Knight of Wands for me, and the Knight is a messenger, and Valiant Courage means you need to communicate something to somebody and take action with passion. Needs to be your driving force. You're just not like willy-nilly. You gotta be all in. You're committing. You're just like, you know what, I'm doing this. No holds barred. Does not matter what the other person thinks, says, does, feels, knows, whatever. I don't care, because I know what I know. And it does feel like you're going into unknown territory here, but that's okay. First light, it's like, make your decision and go. First thing in the morning, just go. You're going to do it. You decide the night before. It's kind of just going along with the storyline here. Literally, because they're in order. Okay, I'm gonna show you this. You decide night before. Okay, I'm doing this. This is how I'm gonna do it. Rough idea. Got the vision. Going with it. Going in the morning. Wake up. Get ready. I'm doing this. Might even not have the conviction anymore, but that's fine, because you're gonna do it regardless. You find the courage to do it. So you're on your road. You're going. Okay. Transformation happens when you do this thing. And then from there on is unknown territory. So if you picked 1 and 3, you kind of get where I'm going with this. It's once you get into the unknown territory, that's where your reading kicks in and overlaps. But for those of you who picked 3, specifically, narrow pathway, feels with the unknown territory. It's like the visual I'm getting. So you're in a place you haven't been before, and you be really conscious about the conversation. You're thoughtful in the moment. Don't have it pre-planned. Don't know what you're going to say. Don't know how you're going to be about it. Play it by ear. Unknown territory. You don't have the answers. But the narrow pathway feels like the middle path. It's like you're walking the exact line of where your inner knowing is taking you. You got to follow that inner knowing without talking yourself out of it. The courage has to overcome. So something like, if you picked 1 and 3, for example, that whole big message in 1 about, like, maybe even going somewhere and relocating and all that sort of thing. You got to have courage about it. You got to follow where you're being pulled to. Where are you being pulled to? That's the biggest question for you guys. Okay, I'm going to get tarot now. Okay, pile 3. tarot cards to help. I feel like there's some unanswered questions that I have, like that I would like to have more definitive guidance on to give you. So hopefully that'll happen as a result of these tarot cards. Okay, one more. You might be somebody who wants to have a very clean end of something and a beginning of another, but it seems like there's overlap. And that's been part of your hesitation up till now. Because guess what's coming out? More horse cards. Follow with passion, right? Like I said, this one reminded me of King of Wands, but doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And also, when you have Death card coming out, it's another card where there's somebody's riding a horse. Think about this. I'm pretty sure there's only 6 cards that have horses besides the 4, knights, 6 of Wands, and the Death. And I just feel like, when the tarot itself was designed, like nowadays, who rides a horse unless you're doing it for fun? So you're not using it to get to A to B. It's not your mode of transportation. So this is you traveling to for a purpose of, like I said earlier, having that conversation. Okay. Quickly, 8 of Wands is always like fast speed, and it's communication too. So, further emphasizing that. Okay, so like, if you feel or have felt stuck, 8 of Swords is here to tell you you're not. Okay, because it came out reverse, and it's even like stronger of a message. Like, you are not stuck. That's where that inner knowing comes from, because you're blindfolded, so you're withdrawn from your senses of knowing things from the 3D perspective, but you have that inner knowing. You have it so naturally that you take it for granted and you don't give credence to it the way you should in all areas. You might be somebody who's like, yeah, I'm really intuitive, or I'm pretty intuitive, whatever, but you say it almost like whoopity-doo. Yeah, I have hair. It's like, okay, don't you realize that's an important thing when it's in the context of intuition? Not everybody has it that strong. Some people have to work for it. You have like a natural gift. Are you using it? Like, you could make money being a psychic. If you were to go on that route, you might be a psychic, already, and you're hearing another reader's perspective on things. You want to know, should I take this action? I'm debating it, I'm weighing on it, but I don't really know. Big yes. Okay, what if in the past there was drama, there was argument, there was hurt feelings, there was, a whole slew of things that it could be. 5 of Swords. In the 5 of Swords, generally, somebody's victorious, somebody's not. But there's 3 people. 2 people are not victorious even. You, or if it was done to you, have defeated your opposition and then some. You are victorious. But at what cost is always the 5 of Swords. It's like, but at what cost? Was it worth it? Did you get the, in some cases, closure that you needed? Did you get the justice you needed, you know, the restitution that you needed? Do you feel like at peace with it? So these are all the kind of things you have to consider. If not, then you need to, did you guys get clear the air, or was that the other group? You know, I don't remember anymore. So if you picked 2, I think it was 2. If you picked 2 and it said clear the air, then you know for sure that this is double strong message. Okay. I think that your group might be prone to procrastination because you talk yourself out of stuff. Your mind overrides your intuition. So that is what I was talking about earlier, and that's what to be mindful of, to not let that happen anymore. No more of that. Sometimes people make a decision and they say this. They say, I put my foot down, I've decided this. No matter what, I will never ever change my mind. I've said it. Here's the problem. Always be open-minded to change your mind. Always be of the opinion of reevaluating. Don't ever close yourself off to something and say, oh, I already said it, I'm not going back on it. Because that's where regrets come. So because I'm getting this in context of communication with another person, it's like you, because of the 5 of Swords, you might have said, I will never. That's the singing that's coming to me. I will never. Is that the best though? In hindsight, after some dust has settled, after some time passes, is that what's still best? Reevaluate that. You need some answers that this other person will have for you. If you've listened to another reading of mine where I've said this kind of message, that tells you, okay, because 7 of Swords is coming up reversed for you. And when it's reversed, that means somebody coming clean. Whether that needs to be, it could be you that needs to come clean, actually. It could be either way. It could be both. But yeah, maybe there's some things that need to be cleared up that are misunderstandings. Man, that would be powerful. Yeah. The world matches the transformation. Yeah, transformation. That's the same energy I'm getting. A fresh new way of living emerges. So it's bigger than just having a conversation, you know? It's like a breath of fresh air so that you can move forward, like the 5 of Swords not affecting you anymore. Okay, opposite. Let's say you're the one who is on the flip side of this. That's where it comes in, where I'm like, you need to be told something that clears the air. The truth needs to be revealed to you. I think not only has there been misunderstandings, but there's been barriers, there's been obstacles. So those shouldn't be a factor anymore. Hierophant reversed. You know, they're past. So a new, fresh way of living emerges is the Page of Pentacles, too. More like Ace of Pentacles, where it's like it emerges, but same thing. Same thing in this reading, at least. Okay. Let's see if I got any last parting messages for you. Nope, not really. Because you got the 2 of Wands in here. The other cards don't really feel like anything. So. Alright, so pile 3. Here's the deal. I don't know. Hold on. I feel like what you need is, makes a lot of sense. 2 of Swords. What you need is like, with that, I don't know if I'll be able to find it now. The eight of Swords reversed. Remember that? There it is. So the 8 of Swords, she's blindfolded, and I was making the connection to the 2 of Swords, but it didn't come out at that time. And then when I split the deck, it did. All right, imagine so this is the same person. Okay, they're both blindfolded. The 8 of Swords is further. That's why it makes more sense that you got the 8, because the 2 was like past. It was the beginning of it. It was like a long time ago. But now some time has gone by. And it's like you or they stayed there so long that it's like they turned into a statue, pretty much. They become a victim to circumstances or whatever. You know, it's almost like, this is the thing. It's like too much time has passed. What's the point? Or like, it's like this kind of thing, right? Like, so say somebody texted you and you ignore the text because of whatever reason, and so now that person thinks you're not interested because you waited so long to reply to them. But really, you're like, man, I don't even know how to address this anymore, because like the thing that they wrote me isn't relevant anymore. And then what do I got to do? Say like, oh, hey, sorry, I've been busy or whatever, but I didn't mean to not text you. And then like, I don't know. It seems like you might talk yourself. Oh, I already said that, didn't I? You talk yourself out of stuff. So then what you do is it ends up going from 2 of Swords to the 8 of Swords, where it's like, now you're like, well, now I got to stick with it because I've already decided this, instead of being open to change your mind, like on a dime. Some people are like that. Like, I'm like that. I'll change my mind on a dime, whatever. You got to kind of like be like that and be cool with unknown territory. Valiant courage. But the most important part, I started with this and I want to finish with this, okay, is navigating by the stars. That is your inner wisdom that can never be taken from you. And you can try to bury it all you want, but it's there. It's like, it's as there as the blood in your veins. And the only way that leaves you, it's, I don't know how to explain it with your group, how important it is. Because it's, to me, this is what it feels like, is like a seed that you were embedded with. And this seed is like, it brings things to you. It repels things away from you. It vibrationally connects with the things that are positive for you. It also warns you when something's off. So it's like, yeah, this is your intuition, but it's more than that. This is deeper. This is like a deeper thing. You're probably an old soul. And so what I'm explaining, I'm trying to explain in words, but it's almost like you probably already know, but it helps to have it in words, you know? But you might need to water that seed by paying attention to it. Because right now it's just the seed. Well, you want it to germinate, and you want it to flower, and you want it to sprout. And if it's like the lotus flower, it seeds in the mud, and then it grows out of the water, and then you see the flower. So it's kind of like that. If you catch my drift, take it to heart to develop that, because it will grow and blossom and become like, how did I ever live without this guiding? It's like, think of it like a light that shines to light the way, and it only illuminates the things that are good. So you know. And there's something more to it also, but I feel like that's step 2. Or it's like, well, like I said in the beginning, where you need somebody to break it down for you in a way that's personal to you in your situation, that only they would understand. And if you talk to anybody else about it, they'll just look at you like you're weird, and you'll be like, never mind. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So yeah. Okay, well, if you'd like a personal reading with me, you know how to find me. Otherwise, I'll see you on my next video. Goodbye.